This is the Skyrover X1 compact GPS drone. It records 4K 60 video, captures 48 megapixel images. It has an advertised 32 minutes of flight time and a signal strength range of up to 15 kilometers. When you combine its regulation-friendly design, its brightly colored appearance, and high-quality camera, you have the makings of what is a... Okay, who are we kidding? This is a brightly colored DJI Mini 4 Pro. Sort of. Hi everyone, welcome to 51 Drones, where I've been flying and reviewing drones and related consumer tech since 2017. And this little drone right here has caused a little bit of stir in the drone world recently. Now, I don't want this video to turn into a political discussion, so I'll save those comments for the end of the video. Now, I ordered this from Amazon. I paid just over $800 for the Fly More bundle, and I got it in 4 days. And overall, I'm very happy with it. Spoiler alert. Now, first of all, let's look at some comparisons to the DJI Mini 4 Pro. From a distance, other than the color, the X1 looks identical to the Mini 4 Pro. But when you look more closely, you'll notice a few differences. First of all, the fuselage has a much more rounded and smooth design, where the Mini 4 Pro has some edges and corners. It's definitely a different mold, but it's inspired by the Mini 4 Pro. The plastic seems to be thinner also. It's a little more lightweight. For instance, if you squeeze it right here with your thumb, the X1 has quite a bit more give to it. Now, as far as weight, they are identical at 248 grams, which is kind of hard for me to comprehend because everything on the X1 seems to be more lightweight. The propellers are a little bit thinner on the X1, and they don't have those rubber tips on the end of them like the Mini 4 Pro. So I wondered if that would have any effect on the noise level of this drone. The batteries are almost identical with just a few small differences, and they are not compatible between drones. Actually, nothing at all is compatible between these two drones. I cannot express that enough. I know that's been a frequently asked question, but there is nothing from this drone that will work on this drone or vice versa. So just so you know, because I'm sure there'll be some comments asking. Okay, you know what? I lied. Actually, the props are interchangeable. I just crashed my Mini 4 Pro into a Highline wire and it wrecked 3 of my propellers, so I had to replace them. I couldn't find my Mini 4 Pro props, so I just threw on the props from the X1 and they work fine. They go on just fine, just the same, and it flies normally. So yeah, the props are interchangeable. So the motor shrouds, or whatever you call these, yeah, I think they're motor shrouds, on the X1 are plastic, and on the Mini 4 Pro, they're metal. So that's a little better design right there. The X1 does not have a landing light on the bottom, but it does have the same sensors as the Mini 4 Pro. The gimbals are pretty much identical, except that the X1 does not have a removable cover. And this would suggest that there are no ND filters for this drone. But if you visit the Skyrover Amazon site, you'll see that they may be offering ND filters in the future. There are 2 small slots on the front of the lens where I'm assuming the ND filters will mount. If this drone doesn't have the ability to add ND filters, that would be a pretty big drawback, because this drone has a fixed aperture and you absolutely need ND filters with a fixed aperture drone. So as you can see, there are similarities in the physical design, but when you get up close and personal, there are also quite a few differences. Now, what about performance? The most frequent question I've seen is in regards to video quality. Are they the same? One big thing to note is that the Mini 4 Pro does have the ability to record in D-Log-M, a flat color profile, and that allows you to have more options when you edit your footage as far as colors, dynamic range, things like that. The X1 only has normal and HLG color profile. So these comparisons that I'm about to show you are both recorded in normal color profile. They're at 4K resolution at 60 frames per second, but I exported them at 30 frames per second. All of the footage from both of these drones is straight out of each camera. I've done no editing at all. Now, I will post a link in the video description that you can visit if you want to download these actual files in 4K 60, and then you can view for yourself to get a more accurate comparison than you can by watching this on YouTube. But anyway, let's take a quick look at a few clips here. See if you can guess which clip is from each drone before I reveal them. So I don't know, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm not gonna like sway you either way, but I want to know your opinion if you think there's a difference in those video clips. Now, another thing that I wanted to check out on the X1 is the ability of it to active track or focus track, while I'm walking, while I'm on my e-bike, and while I'm in my vehicle. Now, I didn't actually run a comparison to the Mini 4 Pro on this test because I know that the Mini 4 Pro is good. And when it comes to walking, the X1 had no problem at all. When I directed it where I wanted it to track me from, it instantly responded. Easy peasy, no problems. On my e-bike, it also did very well. I went around some trees and it kept up with me. And when it did happen to lose me a couple of times, it regained me almost every single time. Not every time though. Now, tracking my vehicle, it did not do as well as the Mini 4 Pro. Its speed was inconsistent. It didn't follow my commands many times because it was always struggling to keep up. All right, so overall, not too bad. Just a couple of things that I noticed. When I was doing point of interest with it, it couldn't keep up with me. Like I was going 10, 15, maybe 20 miles an hour, and it had trouble keeping up with me. Like it would go 10 and then it would go 26 miles per hour. So it definitely changed its speed a lot. And then also it would go like farther away from me and then closer to me. So point of interest, not very good. It did not perform well in that. Active track, it did a little bit better. But the one thing that I really noticed, and I think the biggest issue, is when I would change directions, like if I would have it follow me from behind, and then I wanted to follow me from ahead, like forwards, and I hit, the F, it couldn't go there. It wouldn't go. I would have to like gradually get it there. So hit, the side follow and then front follow. So just a few things that I noticed. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's not as good or not as responsive as, say, like a DJI drone. And yes, I know this may have the insides of a DJI drone, but the software is just not there yet. It needs some firmware updates to make it as responsive as a DJI drone and as consistent as a DJI drone. So it's definitely not as good, but so far, I guess it's a good start, right? Now, is this a deal breaker? Not really, because honestly, how many people active track themselves in their car or in their vehicle? Because most of the time you're going to be going much faster than these drones are able to travel. So yes, it's nice sometimes if you're traveling slowly down a gravel road somewhere, but if you're driving down the highway or anything like that, you're not going to use your drone to track you in your vehicle. Now, on something like a bicycle or a scooter, that's more common, and it performs adequately in those situations. The obstacle avoidance works just as it should, especially when it's active tracking. When I challenged it in the trees, it avoided every single one of them. Here comes another tree. Wow, just missed that tree. And one time it did kind of venture off too far into this clustered area of trees, but it avoided every single branch. Now, what about signal strength? This is claimed to be able to reach up to 15 kilometers, which is on par with the Mini 4 Pro. So my son and I ran a side-by-side signal strength test. We flew both drones at the same time to make sure that the conditions were exactly the same. This is red?
The votes.
Okay. And now mine's red. Okay, so pretty successful as far as signal strength. There's no reason to let you guys know how far each of them went, but I will tell you this. The Skyrover lost signal about 200-ish feet before the Mini 4 Pro did, but then it regained signal and the Mini 4 Pro did not. So I'd say they're pretty much equal. And then when we turned them around and brought them back home, the Skyrover had a full signal the whole way home. The Mini 4 Pro was still having trouble for the first few hundred feet, and so it kept skipping in, skipping out. So when it's facing us, the Skyrover was a little bit better. Facing away from the controllers, they were, let's just say, for the sake of argument, they were equal as far as signal strength. So yeah, there really isn't much difference. With the intelligent flight modes, all of the quick shot modes are the same and they all work the same. One thing that I do really miss on the Skyrover is the ability to run a waypoint hyperlapse. Right now, there's only free mode or course lock. I think the only and the best way to run a good-looking hyperlapse is with the waypoint feature, because you can add so much more interest to your final project. I'm not sure why it's not on this drone, but I would assume that it can easily be added with a firmware update. It's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely the biggest omission when it comes to flight modes. I did run my normal battery life test that I run with all drones, keeping it at around 15 miles per hour, flying in cruise control. Yes, it does have cruise control. And I brought it from 99% down to 5%. The best I've gotten so far doing that was just over 27.5 minutes, which is 86% of advertised flight time. And that is the best score that I have gotten from a drone ever. It's very, very good when it comes to flight time. I also ran a hover test just for fun, just to see how long it would last. It lasted just 20 minutes, which is pretty bad, but it does take a lot of energy for a drone just to hover in place. Now, a few other negatives about the Skyrover is that there is no onboard storage. So if you forget your SD card when you head out to fly, too bad, so sad. Now, the Mini 4 Pro doesn't have much more, but at least there's a little bit there so you can capture some footage if you get out there and you realize you forgot your card. Also, it only comes with the basic controller, so you do need a mobile device to fly this. Some people actually prefer that, but I think the expectation these days is that you have the option to get a controller with a screen. And I actually don't think this drone will ever have that option. Who knows? We shall see what the future brings. Now, there's only one battery option, so there's no extra long flight options, just the one lightweight 2560 milliamp hour battery. One feature that I didn't realize how much I used until I didn't have it is the AR landing indicator. It's so much easier to land precisely with that, and unfortunately, the X1 does not have that feature. And then finally, one very minor inconvenience, but I just want to mention it. When you start the motors with the sticks, normally on a DJI drone, you just push them in and down once, right? And the motors start. With the X1, you have to do it twice. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's for extra safety reasons or whatever, but who knows? Now, of course, the best things about this drone, number one, it's available. You can order it, you will get it, and there are no tariffs, fees, or fear of it being held at the border for some reason. There's plenty of American stock, so if you go on Amazon right now, you're going to be able to order one. It's fairly priced. It's actually cheaper than the Mini 4 Pro right now if you use the coupon that's on Amazon. And finally, this is regulation friendly because it's under 250 grams. Now, what else does that mean? No remote ID on this drone. If you get it and you plan to use it commercially, then you would need to purchase and install a remote ID module. But no registration, no remote ID. And that's good news for many people that don't want either of those things. So that's everything that I've tested on the Skyrover X1 so far. I think if you're itching to get a new compact drone with a great 4K camera that's regulation friendly and has most of the intelligent flight modes that you need, it's worth taking a look at. If you already have the Mini 4 Pro or even the Mini 3 Pro, I really don't know if it's worth an upgrade right now, but if you want to have an extra drone and you want to get one right now, then it's worth getting. This is about as close as you're going to get to having a DJI drone right now, at least for the unforeseen feature. I'll put a link in the video description if you want to get one for yourself. Now, let's get this over with. Many people believe that this drone is an attempt by DJI to circumvent the current tariffs that are affecting their availability in the United States, as well as avoid any potential bans that may be on the horizon. Now, whether any of that is true or not, the fact is, I don't care. If that's an issue for you, I understand, and that's totally fine with me. My position is this, and it will always be this. I want to have fun flying drones. I want to capture amazing media from the air. I want to create amazing content, and I want to earn a little bit of a living. I don't care who makes the drones. I just want them to be available and affordable. The Skyrover X1 is both of those things right now. Now, am I concerned about national security? Of course I am. I'm not an idiot. We all should be concerned about national security. But do I think a little mini drone like these right here pose any sort of security risk that would warrant completely cutting off an entire brand, including non-drone products? No, and I think most of you don't either. So call me naive or call me ignorant, whatever you want. But that's how I feel, and it's not going to change. Honestly, I hope we see more drones like the X1, because it's the only way that this hobby is going to be able to continue in this country. Hit that thumbs up on your way out of the video today if I was able to help you in some way. Subscribe for continued drone-related videos. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you want to know that I didn't discuss today. Have a great day, everyone, and as always, fly safe and fly smart.